Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our um, special video regarding the MTA Capital Plan for 2020-2024 that was released today, Monday, September 16, 2019. So we're going to read the whole some of the press release. So the agency is planning to invest $51.5 billion, the largest capital plan by far in the MTA history. Well, they're mentioning here signals that includes the Lexington Avenue line. That's the first subway line that started to operate back in 1904. My apologies. Uh, Now instead of 50 stations, now is 70 stations will be accessible. $4.55 billion will be allocated for Second Avenue Southern Phase 2 that will extend the Q train from 96th Street to 125th Street, connecting with the Lexington Avenue line and Metro North, and reconnecting with the M60 Select bus service. We have 5.7 billion for the LIRRR that will enable for the opening December 2022 of Eastside Access and the mainline expansion. Epic fail. It should be M9, not M9A. The M9A belongs to Metro North. But since last week, we have been seeing the M9 running on the LIRR. So regards Metro North, pen access is into consideration. $187 million for west of Hudson. Give me just 1 second, folks. I have to send this file to our fellow contributor, Andy Pollack. and then we're going to do a little in-depth discussion. It has 11 pages. And of course, this photograph here on page 1 is apparently the Jamaica Avenue line, and you have two R179s here on page 1. On page 2, they show you a Q train at 86th Street. On page 3, they show you a F train at 57th Street, 6th Avenue. (1900) subway cars, more than 2,400 buses. Could the R62 and R62A be replaced under this capital plan? That's a big question. Because as you guys know, the R62, R62A, R68, and R68A are about my age. Full disclosure. I'm about to get to the mid-30s in about 2 years from now. See, subway cars, over 1,000. So this picture right here, if we could zoom it in, that's the R211 right there. So we're gonna have about 1,000 new B division cars, over 900 new A division cars. Could be the R262. That's a good question. Mean distance between failure increases from 65,000 for the older cars, up to at least 150,000 miles for the new replacement cars, mitigating up to 10% of the delays. This point right here, customers will be no more than 2 stations away from an accessible station. That's part of the fast forward plan. So one of the stations that will be accessible is 6th Avenue on the Canarsie line. And since that is a station complex, so 14th Street on the 6th Avenue line and 7th Broadway 7th Avenue lines will receive elevators. station improvements. I should add that a station that needs critical attention is Broadway on the Crosstown line. And we're gonna see if in the coming weeks, we're gonna do a video about the horrendous conditions of Broadway on the G. Electric buses. The MTA is allocating $1.1 million of purchasing electric buses. They're planning to purchase all electric buses. And after 2029, all purchases will be all electric buses. Let's see LIRR. Eastside access, the mainline expansion, and over here we're seeing 5.7 billion. And of course, a station that desperately needs attention is East New York on the Atlantic branch. For Metro North, 4.7 billion. Okay, they're allocating $485 million for the replacement of 140 of the M3A. So the Metropolitans, bye bye. But they're allocating 187 million of west of Hudson, and of course, Penn Access, the new route for the New Haven line. That will have 4 new stations that will be Hunts Point, Parkchester, Van Ness, Morris Park, and Co-op City. And according to the press release, the customers want to go to this website that is new.mta.info/customer-feedback. And this plan will be reviewed by the full board next week, next Wednesday, September 25th. We're going to be present. and if approved, it will be submitted by October 1st to the MTA Capital Program Review Board for consideration and approval. The review board is composed of representatives from the governor, the state senate and assembly, and the city mayor. Well, of course, let's let's do something extraordinary. Let's start with this picture right here on page 1. The R179. Up to now, the R179 could be seen on the A, on the C, and the J, and the Z. Um, if it's on time, no, it's not. Because the order, in other words, the order has been delayed over 2 years. Second picture, 2nd Avenue Subway, 86th Street. That's one of the stations served by the Q under Phase 1. 57th Street on the 6th Avenue line. Station redone under the Enhanced Station Initiative. No elevator. It actually is served by the F and by the M on evenings and weekends. And this station right here is 96th Street on the 2nd Avenue line. On the Phase 1.
Esta noche son las 11. Una escuela de Washington Heights en Manhattan será remodelada con una inversión multimillonaria. Más de 2.000 estudiantes se beneficiarán. Y en medio de abucheos, el concejal Carlos Menchaca da por terminado un foro comunitario en el que explicaba su decisión sobre el proyecto de rezonificación de Industry City en Brooklyn. Y con un discurso anticorrupción, la precandidata demócrata Elizabeth Warren encabeza una actividad en Manhattan. Fue notable la poca presencia de hispanos. Así comienza Noticias Univisión 48. Fíjate que Soto, muchas gracias por acompañarnos. Millones de dólares invertirá la ciudad de Nueva York para modernizar uno de sus centros educativos, en donde acuden más de 2.000 estudiantes en el área de Manhattan. Se trata de la escuela secundaria George Washington en la avenida de la ciudad de Nueva York, que está combatiendo todavía a esta hora este incendio. Aparentemente ya fue puesto bajo control, pero van a ver a continuación cómo hace unos minutos todo este edificio, esta casa estaba
And
ardiendo.
as
Ya
you
imágenes que
see,
fueron captadas por algunos usuarios de Cine Senado y también que fueron compartidas en algunas redes sociales. Las llamas quedaban por
Phase one of Second Avenue Subway was opened a couple of years ago. Despite the fact that several people and I raised the voice that the system testing was done incorrectly under Dr. H tenure. Will this be the case under Janeliver's tenure? Mm, that'll be something to ask, you know? But of course, buses. We have been seeing at least new buses in Staten Island on the Castleton depot. And of course, we have been seeing new buses in Jamaica. And of course, we have been seeing bus routes being converted from 40 feet to 60 feet, like the B-38 and the Q-12. But soon, after 2029, all buses will be all electric. And as you guys know, the F Express train was launched this morning. Running express between J Street Metrotech and Church Avenue in peak directions. So it will depart Coney Island at 7:07 and 7:29. And then from Lexington Avenue 63rd Street at 4:57 5:28. But what if Bergen Street, this station right here, the lower level, could be remodeled and considered within this 37.3 billion, and the F will could go
para transformar el sistema de transporte y ponerlo a tono con el siglo XXI. El proyecto incluye más de 1.011 millones para mejoramiento de las estaciones de trenes, 7.000 millones para el sistema de autobuses de la ciudad y completar proyectos de acceso a la Long Island Railroad en la parte este de Manhattan. Ricardo Villarín nos explica cómo las autoridades piensan costear este ambicioso plan.
De ser aprobada, sería la inversión capital más ambiciosa en la historia de la MTA para los próximos 4 años. 51 billion plus. Hemos propuesto más de 51.000 millones de dólares de inversión en nuestro sistema de transporte. 40.000 millones solamente en la Autoridad de Tránsito de la Ciudad de Nueva York. Una cifra histórica, dijo Patrick Foyle, el presidente de la MTA. El plan de gastos para el cuatrenio del 2020 al 2024 es un incremento de un 70% en comparación al plan anterior, con un objetivo agresivo de reparar una infraestructura antigua, mejorar y acelerar el servicio para millones de pasajeros que usan el transporte público a diario. Aunque algunos usuarios no confían, verán cambios drásticos en apenas 4 años.
Yo me levanto a las 5, salgo a las 6, llego aquí a las 7 y siempre llego tarde. Va a ser mucho tiempo antes que sea mejor.
Otros son más optimistas y aseguran ya están notando los esfuerzos por mejorar el sistema.
Yo siempre estoy cogiendo el tren, yo veo y yo tengo confianza que ellos van a hacer lo que están diciendo que van a hacer con el dinero.
Del ambicioso plan de gastos se estima 15.000 millones de dólares vendrán de los ingresos que genera el nuevo plan de congestión. Con la inversión también se añadirán unos 1.900 vagones del metro para reducir las demoras en un 10%. También se invertirán 5.000 millones de dólares en 70 estaciones para que sean totalmente accesibles.
Creemos de que es importante iniciar con estaciones desde el sur del Bronx, desde Washington Heights, de lugares en Queens, en Brooklyn, en Staten Island, que viven las familias trabajadoras, donde muchas veces esas comunidades son las últimas en ser tocadas cuando se hacen las grandes reparaciones.
Antes de ser aprobada, la propuesta debe tener el visto bueno de la Junta de Directores de la MTA, también el gobernador Andrew Cuomo, el alcalde de Blasio y la legislatura en la país. Para más detalles de este plan, visite nuestra página de internet telemundo47.com. En Manhattan, Ricardo Villarini, Noticiero 47 Telemundo.
Cambiamos de tema. Los gobiernos en Nueva York y Nueva Jersey le declaran la guerra a los cigarrillos electrónicos y otros productos de vapeo. Hoy políticos de ambos lados del río.
Well, that you heard the report from Telemundo 47. And we are looking at, now 41 is going to report about it.
La ciudad de Nueva York, MTA, planea gastar 51.500 millones de dólares del 2020 al 2024. La mayor parte de los fondos serán destinados para el subway y los autobuses de la Gran Manzana. 25.000 millones provendrán de impuestos y el cobro de peajes por el derecho a circular en la parte sur de Manhattan. 7.000 millones se utilizarán para reemplazar los sistemas de señalización en 6 líneas del subway. Además, se modernizarán 70 estaciones para dar más facilidades a personas discapacitadas. El objetivo es que dichos usuarios no tengan que ir más de 2 estaciones para encontrar un elevador. El plan debe ser aprobado por el Consejo Municipal. Y con un discurso anticorrupción, la precandidata presidencial demócrata y senadora por Massachusetts pueden eliminar la leche con chocolate del menú escolar.
Prices. The company based in
This man attacked that monster. prices will depend on how long it takes.
True.
But one thing for sure,
Should chocolate milk be banned from your
let's take a look at Bergen Street. And as you guys know, Bergen Street has, believe it or not, 2 levels, just like Nostrand Avenue on the ANC and 86th Street on the Lexington Avenue line. And it has, let me see, two entrances. The first one is at Bergen and Smith. That's the main entrance. And the second is Warren and Smith. But look at this paragraph. Bergen Street was constructed as a bi-level express station, though that only the upper level is in use. The lower level is neither in regular service or usable to deteriorated condition. The lower level was used when express service was provided on the Culver Line between 1968 and 1976. The express service was eliminated due to loss of direct local service along the line in Manhattan. The express platform was permanently removed from service during the 1990s, and due to a fire in 1999, the relay room was damaged, making the express tracks unusable. The relay room was rebuilt in 2008. And after repairs were done to the line, the implementation of the express service became feasible in 2019. Express service returned to the line. It returned as of today, although that express train skipped the Bergen Street station due to the high cost of rebuilding it. Look at this. A study implementing an F-Express variant for the Culver Line found that reopening Bergen Street lower level for express trains had potential benefits, including relieving passenger congestion along the heavily used northern section of the line. But the cost reopening the lower level overweighted the benefits. When the station was used for express service, passengers would wait at the staircases to see which level the next Manhattan-bound train will arrive at. This currently occurs at the Delancey Essex station, where passengers wait to see whether a northbound F train arrives in the lower level or of northbound M train arrives in the upper level since both services operate local along 6th Avenue north of that part. Repairs to restore the lower level to operating conditions as well required. See, 75 million. See, if both levels have switched south of the platforms, allowing terminating trains to reverse direction. The switches were used when the station was southern terminus of the line. See, that's one of the doors that's on the upper level that leads to the lower level at Bergen Street. But let's see if this could be proposed as part of the capital plan to um, include uh, Bergen Street lower level. Because as of right now, we could call this a F semi-express. Why semi-express? Because it only makes one stop between J Street Metrotech and Church Avenue, then making all stops south of Church. But you have other stations also. For example, it could go J Street Metrotech, Bergen Street, 7th Avenue, 9th Street, Church Avenue, 18th Avenue, Bay Parkway, no, Kings Highway, and then local from there. But and this is the conclusion. This was done back in 2016. So the ideal express will be J Street Metrotech, Bergen Street, 7th Avenue, 9th Street, Church Avenue, 18th Avenue, and Kings Highway. Or even Neptune Avenue. But of course, we are going to recommend So in other words, they were saying that the the so in other words, they were saying that the Bergen Street lower level is not needed. But we say it is needed, and it should be included in this $37.3 billion. But let's see what the MTA decides. And we have an incident to report. We have northbound 2 and 3 trains are delayed while we request assistance from the NYPD due to a disrupted passenger at Clark Street. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. And for those on the LIRR, we have the 10:51 train from Penn Station due to Long Beach at 11:42 is operating 10 minutes late after accommodating customers from the A delayed train. And we have a service change that is affecting the Port Washington branch. Due to track condition in a single track territory near Manhasset, all Port Washington trains will terminate and originate at Great Neck starting at midnight, with bus service provided between Port Washington and Great Neck. This outage is anticipated to last until 2:30 a.m. The first train affected will be the 11:54 eastbound train for Penn, which will terminate at Great Neck around 12:44, and the westbound train for Port Washington, which will originate from Great Neck around 12:54 in the morning. We have some service changes on the Wasake branch on the Harlem line. And let's go to NJ Transit. To see how are things west of Hudson. Let's see on the northeast coastline. And we are still seeing trains canceled. So that's see. Let's compare for 1 minute um, both agency websites. We have MTA.info that has as the background of Fulton Center and AJT, in other words, New Jersey Transit Corporation and its subsidiaries, New Jersey Transit Rail Operations Inc., New Jersey Transit Bus Operations Inc., New Jersey Transit Mercer Inc., and New Jersey Transit Morris Inc. They have as background Hoboken Terminal. And of course, is translated to any language. But we want more from AJT. We need more from AJT. And of course, we need more from the Metropolitan Transportation Authority. And due to track maintenance tonight, there is no one train between Dyckman Street and 137th Street. One trains are running in two sections. The first between South Ferry and 137th Street, and the second between Dyckman Street and 242nd. And southbound trains are skipping 207th Street. Transfer between 1 and 8 trains at 59th Street, Columbus Circle. 1 and 3 shuttle buses at 137th or Dyckman Street. And transfer between 8 trains and 3 shuttle buses at 168th Street. Meanwhile, 4 trains run local between Brooklyn Bridge City Hall and 125th Street in both directions. And no 4 train between Brooklyn Bridge City Hall and Ulotz Avenue due to track maintenance. Therefore, Late Night 3 will run all the way to Ulotz Avenue. And because of this, 5 train service ends early between East 180th Street and Bowling Green. We have Pambay Park bound 6 train of running express between 3rd Avenue 138th Street and Hunts Point Avenue due to station rehabilitation. 4 bypass station take a 6 train to Hunts Point Avenue and transfer to a Brooklyn Bridge bound 6. From the station, take the 6 to 3rd Avenue 138th Street and transfer to a Pambay Park bound 6. And due to system maintenance until tomorrow morning, 7 trains is not running between 34th Street, Hudson Yards, and Queensboro Plaza. And the 42nd Street shuttle will be running overnight. As travel alternatives, between Manhattan and Queens, take the E, F, and N trains. Transfer at Queensboro Plaza between the 7 and N trains and 74th Street Broadway. Transfer between the 7, the E, and the F trains. And free shuttle buses will be operating in two sections. The first one in Queens between Queensboro Plaza and Vernon Boulevard, Jackson Avenue. And the second in Manhattan between Times Square, 42nd Street, and 34th Street, Hudson Yards. And we have northward bound trains will skip 182nd, 183rd Street. From this station, take the D to Forner Road and transfer to a downtown train. From this station, take the D to Tremont and transfer to a northward bound train. And as a reminder, to 1:30 in the morning, M trains will be operating to and from 96th Street on the Q line. And between 1:30 a.m. and 6 a.m., the M train will be operating as usual between Middle Village and Monroe Avenue. And as a reminder, L train is running every 20 minutes between 10 p.m. and 5 a.m. until the summer of next year. And until 4 o'clock tomorrow morning, Staten Island Railway between Great Hills and Grand City. All trains will exit and board on the Tottenville bound platform. Boarding changes include Great Hills, Bay Terrace, Oakville Heights, New Dorp, and Grand City. Meanwhile, we have good service on the 8th Avenue line. We have good service on the F, on the G, and the J, and all the Broadway line and all the shuttles. We still have that issue on the Long Beach branch. Well, one thing for sure is that we have so little time to digest 11 pages. 11 pages of this capital plan in less than a week. Because according to the press release, they want us to go here. To this feedback, to this customer feedback page, fill out all of our information. Let me see. But instead of giving the public the usual space to provide comment during, let's say, public hearings or things like that. But, okay, the plan was published today. 7 days. See, 1 week from today, the committee meetings will be meeting. In other words, commuter rails, transit, bridges and tunnels, finance, CPOC. And then 2 days after, the 25th, that'll be the full board. That day, September 25th, that will be the day that the 11 pages will be officially presented to the full board. And then, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 6 days after that, it will have to be submitted to the MTA Capital Program Review Board for consideration and approval. So we have to technically digest all of this. We have to digest 11 pages in less than 2 week span. I don't think so. Because we're talking about an investment of 51.5 billion. But what if a person wants to add something to, let's say, station improvements? Like, for instance, Bergen Street lower level. Station accessibility for both Bergen Street and on 7th Avenue. And of course, 4th Avenue, 9th Street could benefit from this also. Because you have the R on the lower level. In other words, underneath the 4th Avenue line. And you have the F and the G of the elevator structure. But if we take Andy Byford's philosophy regarding accessibility, that a commuter won't be 2 stations away from an accessible station. Right now, that distance is more than 2 stations away. Because right now, the intermediate zone between let's say between Atlantic Avenue, Barclays Center, and Coney Island. If you take the B, you will be lucky only at Prospect Park and Kings Highway. That's on the Brighton line. And if you take the Q, you will be lucky at Prospect Park, Avenue H, only going towards Coney Island and Kings Highway. Okay, 4th Avenue line. And of course, Coney Island. Okay, 4th Avenue line, West End, and Sea Beach. Prior to the opening of the New Utrecht 62nd Street complex, if it was an end customer, that customer will have to go all the way from Atlantic Barclays to Coney Island with no stations in between until the opening of New Utrecht 62nd Street. Let's go to the West End line. Prior to the opening of 62nd Street and the New Utrecht complex, if one of the elevators at Atlantic Barclays was down, that commuter will have to go all the way down to Bay Parkway, 22nd Avenue, and then turn around back to Atlantic Barclays, but not anymore. Now that commuter could go all the way to 62nd Street and turn back at 62nd Street. And now, N-train customers could do the same at New Utrecht. If you're an F train or a G train commuter from J Street Metrotech to Coney Island, the intermediate point is Church Avenue. If you're on the L train in Brooklyn, the only three stations, okay, Wilson Avenue is partial. Let's make that disclosure. Wilson Avenue is partial. But the only ones that are fully accessible is Motor Wyckoff and Canarsie. And Canarsie is because it's at street level. Let's not forget that detail. There's only two stations in the whole MTA system that the stations are at street level. That is Canarsie and Walkaway Park. And right now, along the storyline, there's none accessible until December. That Astoria Boulevard will have an elevator. Let's take the 63rd Street corridor for example. The 63rd Street corridor, all three stations are accessible. All three. Lexington Avenue, 63rd Street, Roosevelt Island, 21st Street, Queensbridge. On the 59th Street line, the situation is kind of different because none is accessible. Only Queensboro Plaza and soon 57th Street, 7th Avenue. On the 53rd Street line, things are tricky here also. Here's the thing. At Court Square, the only part that is accessible is the Flushing line. The Crosstown line is not accessible, nor the 53rd Street corridor / Queens Boulevard. Let's look at Canal Street. Canal Street is heavily used, but the only part that is accessible is the Lexington Avenue line. If your commuter is on the Broadway line or the Nassau Street line, those commuters will have to go either to Cortlandt Street or Fulton Street. Let's see which other station. 50th Street on the 8th Avenue line is half. 49th Street on the Broadway line, half. 28th Street on the Lexington Avenue line, half. 86th Street, half. Not even half, only a quarter. Why? Because it only covers the 6. Dyckman Street on the 1, half. See, we have stations in the system that is half accessible, half none. For example, the 6 train. Let's take the 6 for example. The only two stations accessible in the Bronx in the 6th is Hunts Point and Palm Bay Park. But what happens if one of the stations let's say if the elevator at Hunts Point, none of them are not working. That person has two options. Either take the BX5 from this area right here to Ban Bay Park, or go to Simpson Street, take the 2 train to Pound Parkway, and take the BX12 Senate bus service or the BX12 local to Palm Bay Park. Soon 86th Street on the 4th Avenue line will be accessible. In terms of stations that serve area airports, Howard Beach is accessible. Lefferts Boulevard connecting with the Q10 limited soon to be select bus service. Southern Archer, Jackson Heights Roosevelt Avenue, 74th Street Broadway, 61st Street Woodside, Junction Boulevard, 94th Street, but 63rd Drive, Junction Boulevard is not accessible. Flushing Main Street is, Metro Point is not, 111th Street is not. But Kew Gardens Union Turnpike is. Jamaica 179th Street is. So it's like 50-50. But if you are a crosstown line commuter, none of your stations are accessible. Only Church Avenue is accessible. Too bad. And of the shuttles, only the Walkaway Park shuttle is accessible at Beach 116. The Franklin Avenue shuttle is accessible at Franklin Avenue, Park Place, and Prospect Park. The 42nd Street shuttle soon will be accessible both at GCT and Times Square. But there's more to come. Well, we have so much to digest for so little time. So thank you for joining us. We'll see you guys later.